Welcome everybody to a new episode of the Pondcast. Today's episode, the next potential 7-star raid. I'm your host Draco, and joining me today is Chase.
What's cracking?
Guren.
What's Sussy Baka? Need some discipline today.
And Sun Ryu.
Hello.
And so, let's get into it. We've been having some fun with the raids that have come out over the last couple of weeks. First with Charizard, then Cinderace, and now with Greninja. And so Chase had thought maybe we should speculate on what we might see on the next raid. So we've come up with a couple of thoughts. And so to get things started, Chase, since this is your baby, let's go for it.
Yeah, so I noticed a bit of a pattern, or what I think is a pattern. It might not actually be the pattern that I've come up with, but what I noticed was the first 7-star raid was what I would deem the favorite starter of all the starters, which was Charizard. Then second 7-star raid was the favorite starter of Gen 8, which in my opinion was Cinderace. And then there's been a lot of speculation about DLC for Scarlet and Violet and that it's going to be Kalos related. So that's where I think they pulled the favorite starter from Gen 6, which was Greninja. So following that pattern, I think the next 7-star raid is going to be what I deem the favorite starter of Hisui region, because we know through screenshots and other data mines and you'll be able to bring in Hisui and Pokemon eventually. So I think the next star raid will be Hisui Typhlosion with the Terra type Ground. They didn't have abilities in Legends Arceus, so I'm just speculating now on which ability I like to see it have. And that would be First Body. And traditionally, the 7-star, the moves for the 7-star ones have been split into TMs, Egg moves, and Level moves. But obviously in Hisui they weren't like that, so I've just split them between Level and Tutor moves, as it is in the game. So for Level moves, I've chosen Overheat, Infernal Parade, and Rollout. And then for the tutor moves, I chose Calm Mind, Swift, and then because all the 7-star raid ones have had Terra Blast, I put Terra Blast in there for the 6th move.
I like the idea of where you went. The move list that you've chosen is pretty rock solid, and combined with the typing, I mean, you're talking about a Ghost Fire gaining the ground typing, which, depending on some of the other movesets that it could have, potentially, it's not a bad direction to come at.
I find it interesting that you think it's going to be like the Hisuian Typhlosion. I for some odd reason, like when I heard Hisui, like when I first heard that you were going to say like it was going to be Hisuian starter, my mind went immediately to Decidueye. Like I don't know why, but it went there first before you mentioned Typhlosion. I was thinking, oh, okay. Like, I mean, I think I would prefer the Typhlosion over the Decidueye, honestly. But for some reason, I was just thinking Decidueye. Like, but I am kind of curious though. Like, what I would like to see the Hisuian Typhlosion though, or any of the Hisuian mons, because like when you think about it, right, like that would be like our one entry point or one way to get like that specific Hisuian mon, right? Because otherwise you would have to transfer it over from the game itself, from the Legends Arceus game. And then like not only that, but it's kind of like we're getting like 2 Pokemon at once. You know what I mean? Like, because if we try to breed it down in the Paldea region, it would just turn up as probably a regular Cyndaquil, right? And I mean, it's going to turn into a regular Cyndaquil, but then from then we're just going to get a regular Typhlosion instead. So like, I kind of like that idea. Yeah. So like, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, that was also part of my thought process. Is this mod in and of itself will be sort of more precious in terms of 7-star raid mons, because obviously you can only catch one, but you can't breed for a shiny of it. You can't do anything. So you've just got that mon as your reward. You can't take it any further.
You know, I didn't even think about that, and that's actually a really good idea, and it would definitely entice more players to jump in on the raid if this is the only way short of transfer to get the Hisuian Typhlosion. The only rub, I guess, would be to say, is that you wouldn't be able to get the Hisuian version of Quilava out of it unless they introduce something in the DLC that's going to allow for those specific lines to actually have their variants come in instead of the originals. But I definitely dig the idea that it's going to be that rare. Like, this is your chance to get one unless you play the game or trade with somebody who's played the game. This is it.
Kind of a letdown, in my opinion, just for the fact that like we can only get one per se from like Legends Arceus unless you have like multiple accounts or something on your Switch.
For me, I started thinking about this because I thought Chase had a great idea on this. Like, what would be the next mon? And so I went through the Gen 9 decks as far as what is coded in that we know of. Okay. So we only had Charizard for Kanto. We only had Typhlosion for Johto. We don't have anything for Hoenn as far as starters go. or for Sinnoh. They both kind of got the shaft. We have Unova, which gave us Samurott, and then Kalos. For Alola, we only got Decidueye. Galar, we got the 3 starters coded in there. So going to see what is on Cerebi that we haven't seen yet, and if they're going to continue with hosting Pokemon that we don't have access to yet, I'm going to omit the Legends of Arceus Pokemon flat out, because if Pokemon home connectivity is supposed to be soon, I don't see them needing to worry about those guys. However, we are seeing the sunset of the 3DS. That's bringing me right to Kalos. It's the only one that we don't have anything for as far as starters go. Yet they do have coded Delphox and Chestnut. Now they've already done 2 fire types. I don't see them doing a third immediately. I think that's going to come after. I think the next Pokemon they're going to do is Chestnut.
I would also be down for that.
I've been racking my brains all week on this one, trying to figure out what they would use for Chestnut. It's a grass fire type, which means it's going to be weak to poison, it's going to be weak to flying, it's going to be, weak to psychic, weak to fire. There's a list. There is a list here. And what Terra typing would I give it that would be both beneficial and defensive? And then we looked at the earlier raids. You got a dragon type, you got the fighting type, you got a poison type, right? There's just kind of going off ball. What if they made Chestnut a water type?
Water type.
Yeah, hear me out. It would be a water type, which brings its weaknesses to grass and electric. Now, Chestnut knows Pin Missile as far as Bugs moves goes, which 2 to 5 times hits doesn't seem like a lot until you start getting hit with a lot of them. But more importantly, Chestnut has a ton of ground type attacks. I mean, it knows Dig. It can learn Stomping Tantrum. It's got Spikes, so it can set up spikes in the first turn. It's got Earthquake. It's got a whole lot of different ground type attacks that would help deal with an electric threat, which we've seen them try to do with Greninja, because I know I felt the sting of a couple of Night Slashes during the raid. And so, I mean, as of right now, the only water move it does have is Rain Dance.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about Greninja still.
No.
It could Rain Dance into a water Terra type move.
Yeah, exactly, and then use
Terra Blast.
Terra Blast water and start hosing down fire types, rock moves, or anything flying that would normally be super duper weak against. Dark moves, they wouldn't do dark, would they? I mean, it potentially speaking, I could see them doing dark, but then you'd still have that bug issue.
That bug issue and that fairy issue too, I think.
Yeah. So like too many times the weakness of fairy comes up, and I don't think they'd want to open that one up again. I think they would try to go something different and maybe off ball. So that's kind of where I went with water.
The potential I think it could return is Meganium, which is gonna be your Terra type thing, flying, which I think will be interesting. And then the moveset I have for it is Earthquake, Seed Bomb, Synthesis, and Sunny Day. And the ability is going to be the hidden ability, which is Sleep Guard, which will be nice. And then the way how I build it is, Jolly Nature, make it go really fast, invest in max attack, max speed, which will be nice.
I could definitely see it dropping Sunny Day on the very start.
Yeah, because its hidden ability is Leaf Guard, right?
Yeah, Sleep Guard.
Yeah.
While it's activate, it can't rest, but it can't be, you can't paralyze it in no status. It can't be poison anything, so.
Oh my god, I can imagine it like if it does cast like Sunny Day on the first turn as a flying type too, and then it just like constantly spams like, oh, you know what? They can make it annoying where it's not an offensively it's not an offensive raid more than it's like a defensive raid, so it just like keeps spamming like Synthesis like every so often, where it just heals it up because of the Sunny Day, and then like, oh my god, it's like I'm gonna be annoying in a different way for you guys. I'm not gonna be killing you. You guys are gonna have to try and kill me before the timer runs out.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I said Guren really just came and thought of time stalling. Man's just out for blood.
learn Solar Beam? Just out of curiosity.
I feel like it
I think
should.
it does.
Right?
Yeah, it does. Well, it did at one point. But yeah, could you just imagine this flying giant brontosaurus dropping seed bombs and earthquaking as it lands and just shooting you with solar beams from the sky without rest? Oh man, that's just vicious.
Cue
That's
in the
absolute
Godzilla
vicious.
scream.
So, do you guys want to know my second one?
Yeah.
So, Swampert, okay? And the third typing is grass.
Swampert, grass type. The one who used to be weak to grass types is now a grass terra type. I like
And then the ability is 20. And then for the moveset is Ice Punch, Earthquake, Darkest Lariat, and Hammer Arms.
Well, they'll always use the hidden ability for the raids. That's just kind of.
Oh yeah,
very good.
I got you.
It'll
Get
always,
that.
Yeah.
it'll always be.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, that's a good build too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that of course. It'll be like max attacks, max HP, adamant nature. Yeah.
I really like that one.
Yeah.
If that's just another way to
I
get
think that-
Swampert in back into the game. Yeah.
I mean, it was in Gen 8 after the DLCs.
Swampert was actually one of the ones I was looking at until I went through the list to see what was currently available in the game without an update or any DLC, because that was kind of where my head went. It's like, the two that I think I would like to see, Swampert was one of them, but then it's not coded in the game just yet, so that's kind of where I'd segued over. But I like that one. You're gonna need to be careful with bringing in a fire type because you've got a Pokemon that is basically built to break fire types. I like this as a whole. I mean, you've got counters for flying, which is great. You're naturally built for anti-fire, which again works. You've got the defense against a bug type. Yeah, I mean, this is actually I like this particular run too. Like I said, I mean, it was one of the Pokemon I was looking at until I realized that it's not coded in the main game yet. So that was the only reason that deterred me from it. But yeah, I wasn't thinking grass, but I definitely think grass would be a really awesome Terra typing for Swampert.
Yeah. The reason why I consider grass because the coverage type move.
Torterra. Torterra is the next raid one. It's already been done but I was thinking Torterra, dragon typing with at least outrage.
Can't even learn outrage?
Yeah, it can. I think it's a breed down move though. An egg move, I think. Yeah, I mean, like I can't really think of anything else for it. Like Terra type, dragon, Torterra. I don't know. Would just constantly spamming outrage or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. Pissed off rock turtle.
Yeah.
No.
Beating you upside the head with a giant tree on its back.
Gary, imagine if it could learn Draco meter beat.
It's a Oh yeah, I mean that'd be kind of cool too. But it is a physical mon, I think, right? I think it's a physical.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And with that brings our episode to a close. What do you think about our speculations? Do you think we might be onto something, or do you think it's going to be a different mon? Let us know down below. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day. Bye.
Arrivederci.
See ya.
Have a good day. Bye.